Let's talk about Brexit first of all, because I think you have made some exceptionally good points. And I think the worst thing that's ever happened to this country is being given a referendum to vote to leave the European Union.
You can't let the people choose.
No, the people shouldn't be allowed to choose.
Too foolish.
You can't trust the country or the people. And I think David Cameron should be brought back and made to apologise profusely and probably do a couple of years in the Tower. I think that would be fair enough, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think what we are coming to understand now is that asking a very simple binary question that just required a yes or no answer to something that is incredibly complicated was probably the most stupid thing any government or prime minister has put to the people. And you can sort of see it now in the, I understand Brexiters' annoyance. I really genuinely do. Because, you see people going, well, Brexit means Brexit. We're not getting the Brexit.
Everyone knew what they were voting for. They meant hard Brexit and then do the deal.
Is the problem, because...
Ignore my friend, Emma. He didn't vote.
What Brexit they voted for. We voted to leave the EU, and we are leaving the EU. But what is up for grabs, and what hard Brexiters especially will not accept, is that the future relationship with the EU and how we trade with them is now up for grabs. That is the thing that we are going to have to decide.
I'm not convinced, Emma, we are actually ever going to leave the European Union. And
well, I wish I believed that.
The thing is, I ask every night just to wind people up. I say, just ring me and tell me, and don't you even mention bananas. Just be quiet for a moment, all right?
Newts.
No, don't even mention that.
Stop hospitals getting built.
Ring and give me 3 laws that you think Brussels have imposed on us that we are going to get rid of and all be better off for. Just 3.
Fishing.
Yeah. Have you ever had an answer?
No, because they ring up and say bent bananas, newts, and whatever else he said.
Yeah. I have this conversation quite a lot with people on Twitter. And because I will say, why did you vote for Brexit? And they will say, oh, sovereignty. And so we can make up our own laws. And then I say to them, well, okay, well, how many laws do you think that we have in the UK that have been sent by Brussels? And they will go, all of them. All of them, all the laws.
58%.
And I go, okay, no, it's about 12.9%. And do you know what those laws are? They are things like statutory maternity pay, the working time directive, so that you have to be offered holiday pay. It's all things.
Well, we're going to get rid of all of those, aren't we, Emma?
And then exactly what
it wasn't
you
a
said,
democracy, was it, the EU? No one knew, no one knows their MEPs, and they don't even have a say. It's the commissioners, so there's no democracy, and that's the way they wanted it in the EU.
But do you know what? When people say, oh, we don't vote for the commissioners, when was the last time you voted for the head of the civil service?
Well, it's a civil servant. They don't get
Well, that's what the commissioners are, the civil servants.
You didn't vote for the civil
They're
service,
not the civil
did you?
servant. They decide things, the commissioners. The civil service don't.
They do.
No, the commission will come up with policies, and the policies then have to be voted for by the MEP.
It's so complex. No one knows that, though, do they? How can you have a democracy that no one knows about? They want it like that.
You didn't vote, so shut up.
I always think it's very hard if you have been lied to by papers and by MPs with vested interests for decades.
Here's another nice question, Emma.
Well, it was a protest vote, I think, a lot of people.
But here's another question, Emma. How many, you can probably, but ask people, how many MEPs, forget Nigel Farage, how many other MEPs can you actually name?
Daniel Hannan, that's it.
Exactly, and that's the way they want it. They want everyone to be so uninterested they can just do what they want.
But I think
Nigel Farage is actually my MEP. Can you imagine anything worse?
Well, I don't.
You should go to his surgery.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Have a Rothmans.
He doesn't have a surgery. He doesn't do a blind bit of work.
Well, he does do a lot of interviews.
Oh, I don't know.
Thank you very
he does
much.
work hard.
Skip off into the sunset with his German passport.
I think he's done rather well getting him this far, and I can assure you Nigel didn't think it was going to go this way. I mean, he's now got to reinvent himself, hasn't he? So, but the problem is, Emma, that the MEPs must be the most weak-minded, the most useless people ever, because not one of them that I can remember has ever done much to make themselves into a person who is known. Because, we've got 650-odd MPs in the House of Commons. We couldn't all name more than about 20 or 30 probably. But at least a number of them.
Do you know why I think that is? I think it's because it's almost proportional representation for the MEP vote, isn't it? You're not actually voting for a specific MEP, are you?
Well, you're voting for a number of MEPs.
No one
within
knows.
your area.
No one really knows.
And they get allocated, don't they, according to how many people have voted.
But I think this is all the problem, that
think that's part of the
nobody took
problem.
any interest. And I said the other day,
Because we're not interested. You know,
Well,
get
we
so
are.
many levels away. You know, that's.
how do we sort this out, Emma? How do we solve this problem?
I think that hard Brexiters have got to accept that they're not going to get this mythical Brexit that they think exists. It doesn't exist. That's number one.
They're not going to get what they voted for.
No, they
the
don't
will of the
even know
people.
what they voted for. I think a lot of them just think that they were going to get this clean break and it was going to be magical and very, very easy. Whereas the reality is you cannot unpick 40 years of complicated, integrated laws and supply chains overnight. And if we don't want thousands of British businesses to go under and entire industries to go under, then we have to come up with a sensible trading policy with our nearest neighbours. And they are also our biggest trading partners.
They don't want to
So
lose
either
our
have to-
business, do they? Business will win out overall.
But hang on,
anyway.
hang on.
Well, but it's also the Northern Ireland border problem, which is
Unsolvable,
which
that
is
is.
not going to go away.
Local
We also have a
authorities.
problem in poor old
We've already
Gibraltar.
got different
Everyone
tax
forgets
with
about
frags and petrol with
Gibraltar.
Just a
Ireland.
minute, guy. Just a
Already-
minute.
there's
Look, today, local authorities across the UK have expressed serious concerns about the delivery of public services in
Yeah.
dozens of Brexit impact studies. Now, they've
Project
actually...
Fear.
Just a minute. It's not Project Fierce. If
It's
you
not- it's
This is
bother...
like
just
World
fact.
War III was going to be declared the next
Do
day,
you know
isn't
what?
it?
Let's say you booked a holiday, James, to go to Italy the day after Brexit. Would you drive there?
I'd
Would you
like to
drive-
drive there because I'd probably
Would
take
you
my
fly then
dogs.
drive?
I mean-
I think I'd probably take the Channel Tunnel with the car and then drive down into Italy. Actually, it's very nice
well,
of you
do
to
know
offer.
what? You're not going to be able to do that.
Why not?
Because
We'll be all right.
because your driving license is no longer valid.
But they won't
And
do all
neither
this.
is your
This is all.
driving insurance.
Well, hang
I
on.
mean, we can't be. This shows why the EU's bad because it would be. It's like a trap. You can't leave. It's a spider's web. So we should get out now. Why? Because in 10, 20 years, we
But this is
definitely
the
won't have a
point.
chance.
You can't just leave because of all these integrated.
It would be
systems.
bad for a few years, but
on
it would.
day one, we will be the only country in the world that has no trade agreement with any other
They'd
country.
soon
But
sort
you
that
make a
out.
very... Well, they won't soon sort it out,
Business
Ash.
will sort that out.
Ash, you didn't even bother to vote in the referendum, so be quiet.
The
You
business-
don't even have a... You don't even have a voice in this.
We
This-
buy more off them than they do off us.
It doesn't matter because we decided, some stupid people decided to leave a club that was doing quite well, not as good as it should be. We could have improved it if British MEPs
But we couldn't. That was
Well,
what
had
we
if
bothered-
David Cameron had when he went to the EU to try and negotiate a better deal. I mean, let's not forget, out of the EU, well, it was the 28 when we were in, but when we were in, we were the country that had the best deal of everybody. We had the best deal. We had opt-outs. We weren't part of Schengen. We didn't have to join the euro. And we had a big seat at the table and had a veto. And the very best case scenario in terms of our future economic prosperity is that we stay in the single market and we stay in the customs union and we won't have any say anymore at the top table. It's absolute madness.
Emma, thank you very much indeed. And I want to get you to come into the studio someday and we'll talk about that. I think it will be fascinating for a lot of people. Emma Kennedy, writer and screenwriter and author. Thank you.